Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
My mom told me that when I give this speech today, I should picture her laughing. She wasn't laughing, though, when she was right in the middle of it, 45 years ago, when I was 17 years old. I had wonderful parents. They wanted me to be as independent as I could be as a totally blind person. I had been born blind, and they wanted me to have a full and productive life as anyone else would, and I think they succeeded. When I went to high school, I began taking 3 buses each way in Chicago to get to school by myself. I used a white cane. The way the white cane works is that when you take a step with your right foot, you have your cane in front of your left foot to see what's there. Then you slide it over, and when you take a step with your left foot, your cane is in front of your right. So you're always checking for cracks, and it can also tell you when curbs are coming, and you can also find landmarks. This is a wonderful way for a lot of blind people to travel, but I wanted a different way. I wanted a pair of eyes. In the summer, right after I graduated high school, I went to the Seeing Eye in Morristown, New Jersey, and there I was presented with a German Shepherd Collie cross named Bunny. When I got Bunny, I put away my cane and I grabbed a leash. As a team, it's important to bond, to work well together. Bunny did the first real bonding experience. She wanted to know if I would have the same expectations of her as her instructor had. So, one day, as we were walking along, she walked me smack into a wall. Now, when I say smack, I don't mean that she just brushed me along the side. I could reach all the way over this way, all the way over this way, and I just walked smack right into that wall. Well, I have to admit it was funny to me, but I still had to give her a leash correction. I said, "Bunny, no," and I pulled back on the leash. And then she knew that I was going to have the same expectations as an instructor, and she never walked me into a wall again. I knew that she did that on purpose because no dog could graduate from a guide dog school and do something like that. So it was definitely a test for her to find out who I was. My real bonding experience happened after we got home. The night we got home, I took a nap. I was pretty tired after a month of training and the plane trip and everything. I woke up at about 10 o'clock and was going to take Bunny to relieve herself for the last time of the day. My plan was to go to a park about a block away from our home. I said to my mom, "Mom, don't follow me." I wanted to prove to myself and to my mom that I could be independent. So I put Bunny's harness on and we went out for our walk. As I started walking with Bunny, I began to feel a real elation. I was able to walk probably 3 or 4 times faster with the dog than with the cane. And for the very first time in my life, I felt a sense of real freedom. It was one of the most beautiful evenings that night. It was calm. It was the perfect temperature. It was just so beautiful, and even more so because of the fact that I was enjoying, for the very first time in my life, walking down an area that I used to poke along when I had my cane. We began to walk, and all of a sudden we came to some grass. I love walking on short grass. That exhilarated me too. And we kept on going, and I began to think, you know, I'm not sure where I am, but Bunny and I will find our way back eventually. It really doesn't matter right now because I was enjoying myself. Finally, though, I began to realize that I was on the ground began to tilt to the right. And I also could hear steady traffic on my right. I realized that I was on the berm of the Edens Expressway in Chicago. So I thought, well, we'll find our way back. So we turned around, and Buddy gently led me to a wall, another wall. But this time it was gentle. It was waist high. I knew that that was the key to getting out of that area, but I was afraid to step over because I didn't know how big a drop-off might be on the other side. Eventually, we decided just to sit down and wait, like they always tell you to do. Wait for someone to find you. And I was very peaceful. In the meantime, though, at home, my mom was frantic. She called my sister Nancy and said, Nancy, we've got to go find her. Nancy started looking in the bushes because I'd been gone a while, and she thought my body would be somewhere down there. Then my mom called my dad. And then my dad called the police. They were all looking for me. In the meantime, I'm sitting there with Bunny. I had my arm around her, and I was petting her, and I was so peaceful. And Bunny got to hear my voice talking and talking to her. I said, it's you and me, Bunny. And it was one of the best bonding experiences of my life. That bonding was a catalyst for my freedom. And my mother is still smiling. Mr. Toastmaster.
To learn more about how non-sighted people learn to maneuver in a sighted world. Jerry talks about it often at Sunrise. Can you tell us a little more about working with guide dogs and how that has evolved over time for you?
I've had 4 guide dogs. I would like to have another one. Guide dogs are wonderful because they have intelligence and well, let me give you an example. My last German Shepherd knew when I would pass the same way every hour or two, but at 4 o'clock I needed to use the phone. She would always stop right in front of the phone at 4 o'clock. And there are just wonderful, wonderful features of having a guide dog. They make it so you don't have to watch for every single landmark with your cane. And it's just wonderful.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us this morning. Yeah, thank you.